need cute. We need fluffy. Maybe cute, but definitely fluffy. Chat, it's casual time. It is casual geographic time. I have no idea what animal we are looking at this time, although it says the animal not safe for school, so I'm kind of curious about that. But let's take a look.
Investing, taxes, and a ferocious hidden penis. 3 things school ain't teach you enough about. And unfortunately, this isn't a finance channel. Of course, we're talking about the final boss of Focas, the maligned weasel, one could say measle of Madagascar, the fosa. And with that, there's 2 types of people. Those that have never perceived this rough draft cat, and those that never would have if Jada's will would have rocked Chris and left him with Fresh Prince before they did 2 movies. And that might be because putting the fosa on a lesson plan would mean explaining to a room full of children that concealed poop shoot is their actual name. Cryptoprocta ferox is their scientific tag, where ferox means fierce or ferocious, and cryptoprocta refers to the fosa's anus being hidden from the public. Fusas use scent glands to mark their territory, and these glands are found in the anal pouch, and this anal pouch is like a modesty garment for their brown balloon knot. That modesty got rewarded with the scientists immortalizing the big bad of Madagascar by its forbidden Fruit Loop. At least they're not alone. They could always start a support group with a platypus. The name almost becomes purposefully provocative when you realize there is one whole, no pun intended, genus named Fosa. This Fosa genus has 1 living member, and it's not the Fosa, cause screw them, that's why. It's actually the, to be fair, closely related Malagasy civet. But the fact is, a dope-ass scientific name like Fosa fasana went to the civet, but the actual Fosa got stuck with missing butt muzzle. That's not the last or worst way they get screwed by their own anatomy. I think you know what's coming, but we'll get to that. Maybe the name refers to how much
I mean, it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. Like, it's got a bit of a fucked up face, but it's still kind of cute, honestly.
The name refers to how much of a pain in the prostate figuring out what this beta-tested big cat actually was. The food.
I mean, tell me it doesn't. Hang on, let me get a picture. Get slide the conversation. Tell me it doesn't look like a combination of a cat and a hyena. Like, it's got like the body of it's got the kind of the body. It looks like somebody took a cat and a hyena and like smushed them together. It's weird, but I kind of want to pet one. I do want to pet the danger floof. Yes, I do. I don't know about ferret. It's too thick for a ferret. Like visually speaking. The face especially, it reminds me of a hyena because it's elongated, but it's stout. Whereas the ferret's is more angular, like it's more triangular shaped, and this one is just it's more elongated, but it's narrower, and it like definitely has that kind of it feels like it. I get like a hyena feeling for it. You thinking more weasel than hyena? I don't know. Maybe it's that was the first thing that popped in my head with the face. The face is what's doing it to me. Is that face just I don't know, Shields hyena.
Out what this beta-tested big cat actually was. The fosa was first described in 1833, where they were put in the vivarid family. Not a vivid ferret, although I wouldn't blame you, but a family that has the pea smells like buttered popcorn binturong along with civets and genets. In 1939, they were moved to a subfamily Infelidae because folks were really sold on it being a cat. In 1945, a change of heart put incognito back with vivarids. Almost 50 years later in 93, they got a little warmer with a
Okay, homie packing. This motherfucker be packing right now. Am I gonna need to put a censor bar over that in my upload tomorrow? Seriously, holy shit!
DNA study putting the fosa at the mongoose lunch table, but it only took 2 years for someone to try to argue them back with the cats and family Felidae. An animal that hides its seat lips in a family of felines that flash it like ID should have told him the fosa was the imposter. And eventually something did, and they were put in the Eupluridae family in 2003. It took almost 200 years to ascertain what this unhinged roid weasel was. That still begs the question, what exactly is a fosa? That question takes way too much time to answer, and it's probably why most schools don't even bother. So obviously I'm going to try to do it in a minute with no teaching degree. So, with Order Carnivora, there's basically two teams, Team Cat and Team Dog. Team Dog, Caniformia, is basically all the animals you think are dogs, and you got your pinnipeds, the raccoon family, your bears, and the weasel family, aka the animals that think they're bears. Team Cat, feliform are, well, cats, hyenas, and the mongooses. The fosa is on the feliform side.
Okay.
Well,
Hang on.
cats, hyenas, and the
Okay, look at the hyena face here. Tell me that doesn't kind of look like the fosa. Tell me that face doesn't look similar to the fosas. Because, okay, remember this?
mongooses. The fosa is on.
Tell me it doesn't look similar. And that's why when I first saw it, I thought the face reminded me of a hyena.
The feliform side, and their family Eupluridae is full of animals you've never seen before. If you can name this, you're either lying or you're better than me.
Wait, is that a red panda? No, that's not. Wait. Is that a ringtail? No, it's not a ring-tailed lemur, is it? Yeah, I realized after I said red panda. No, is that a ring-tailed lemur?
The fosa family shares a common ancestor with the mongoose mafia Herpestidae, and both of them are distant cousins with the hyena family. So even though I'm pretty sure I called it a weasel twice, they're actually on opposite sides. In fact, when you think about it, mongooses are the weasels of cats, and weasels are the mongooses of dogs. Eupluridae has other Madagascar predators you've never heard of because King Julien didn't scream their name loud enough. They include 6 types of Bonceras, like this ring-tailed right here, and also mongoose members like the brown-tailed and the broad-striped. But like I said, the closest living relative of the fosa is the Malagasy civet that snatched its chain and took his name, but best believe the fosa gets the last word. So what is the fosa? The fosa is an overgrown steroid mongoose civet understudy built like a time-strung cougar with the same cursed anatomy of a hyena. Nothing about animal
I'm gonna play that again.
civet understudy built like a time-strung cougar with the same cursed anatomy of a hyena. Nothing.
It's got the same anatomy as the hyena. Good night, J10.
Nothing about animal casserole is straightforward. Even their name had to be an argument. Anyone who had a childhood like mine would pronounce it the same way I've been doing. But if you follow the Attenborough rule, Sir David would have had you saying fossa. What if I told you both are technically wrong? Cause their name comes from the original Malagasy word, and apparently the correct way to say it is foosh, like foosh with a performance anxiety at the end. Experts feel free to correct me, but apparently that is the closest to the OG Malagasy pronunciation. It's just that the global game of telephone has Americans saying fosa, while England pronounces it as fossa. So if your point of reference is the movie, it's the fosa. If it's Sir Attenborough or the Wild Thornberrys, it's fossa. And if you want to feel better than everyone, it's foosh. Now, another reason the foosh is blacklisted from the curriculum is not just because depending on where you are, they can be thousands of miles and oceans away, but the entirety of your Eupluridae is endangered, and if they're not, they're endangered of being endangered. What does that mean to you? Well, it could mean a lot. You never know what cures nature could be hiding, or where. Scientists once studied the antibodies in llamas in hopes of curing the big cough of 2020, and many believe this moss carpet's fur may contain the key against malaria. But beyond that, losing life over there could hit your pockets here. Deforestation is the biggest reason for the flatlining of fosa and friends, and according to this article, the same arboreal activities can cause extreme weather that can lead to the jacking up of food prices. So yeah, something happening a world away can come back to bite you in the wallet, and you might not even realize it until you're forced to finance a carton of eggs. That's honestly why I feel pretty good about working with Ground News, because being informed has never been more important. Ground News is an app developed by a former NASA engineer and designed to abolish bias. Ground News lets you learn more about the things you're interested in or affected by, and it paints the picture as wide as possible, instead of hiding it like a fosa Fruit Loop. Ground News shows you exactly how far left or right the source of a story leans with an overall factuality check. It's basically a more productive version of doom scrolling at 2 AM, which, let's be real.
Oh yeah,
we already
Micro
do.
Wiper.
And
He is
whether it's in
great
your
at
backyard
this.
or an island thousands of miles away, you can actually be informed on things. Things like the price of potatoes.
As soon as I recognized the ground news format on the screen, the second he brought up the first one, and I immediately went, oh, now we're going into the ads. Even though he's still talking about the fuchsia. I knew he was segueing into it because I recognized the format.
Potatoes going up 22% in the UK, and a West African heat wave leading to a 280% markup in cocoa prices. That's why I partnered with Ground News, and if you'd also like to be chronically online in the best way possible, I got you with 40% off the same $5 a month Vantage plan I'm using. If you use my link on screen, in the description, it don't matter, I'm flexible. Make sure you go to groundnews.com/casualgeo to subscribe. But anyway, fosa are alive. Actually, speaking on their name, we low-key don't even spell it right. The original Malagasy name is fuchsia with one S. Apparently colonizers saw that and were having none of it. Also, we don't know exactly where the name comes from, but the theory is in languages like Tagalog, pusha means cat, and in Iban, fosa might also refer to the Malayan weasel. So I can only guess that something happened where they were like, well, this thing looks like a cat, but could also pass for a weasel, and we call both pusha. So the logical name is fuchsia, because being a fosa means being defined by how close you are to being something else, which is actually their origin. Fosa are a cat's nature tried redrawing strictly from memory, and I'm not even kidding. You ever wonder how they got there in the first place? The aggressive absentness is believed to have spawned from a common ancestor about 20 million years ago, except Madagascar physically divorced from the subcontinent of India 80 million some years ago. How did the Foosh get loose on Madagascar? There's a couple theories, and the predominant one is that their ancestors rafted on floating vegetation, about 250 miles across the Mozambique Channel, a trip that would have lasted a little over a month. Really, the fosa just proves how much nature cooked with cats. You basically had an...
I mean, it's also possible that someone traversed from the mainland to the island and had a couple with them and let them loose, and the hunting grounds were plentiful and they were able to breed, and thus they spread throughout Madagascar. That's how fucking moose ended up on Newfoundland. Like that's like for these small islands that like have an animal that is not native to it. Typically speaking, the simplest answer is someone brought a couple multiples of that animal to the island, either let it loose or it got loose. Food was plentiful, and they just started breeding. Moose can swim right yet. Moose cannot swim across the bay. Okay, the moose do not have the ability to swim across the strait between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, or Newfoundlanding and Labrador. They're not that good of a swimmer. No, the moose were actually brought over. I forget when it was. It was like the early 1900s, early to mid 1900s, and by someone, I forget who, they were let loose on the island. I think they may have originally brought them over for hunting purposes. I don't quite recall, but they were brought over, let loose on the island, and the moose just started breeding like fucking crazy. And now there are moose on Newfoundland, and they are so prevalent, there's a literal lottery to go hunt moose every fucking year. Because moose are incredibly prevalent on the island. And the plural of moose is mose. That is the plural. Please tell me that's a joke and you're not actually seriously asking about that. Yes, the plural of moose is mose.
Oversized meerkat spawn on an island with
yes,
no big
moose
cat
can
apex
swim, just
predator.
not that long.
So they messed around and became one.
No,
The
Garrett, I
endgame
never
of
did.
evolving the perfect merc machine.
No, I never hunted a moose while I was in Newfoundland. I was too busy working. I didn't have time to go moose hunting. And besides, I would have had to have put my name into the lottery. I don't know what the chances I would have had to hunt for one. I didn't even have a rifle over there. So no, I never went moose hunting.
Apex predator. so they messed around and became one. The end game of evolving the perfect milk machine with milk is apparently cat. Fusas aren't that, but these Fusas apex as fuck. This was a reasonable crash out. They might look cute to us, but this is the reaper to the Madagascar population. Nature didn't stop at retractable claws. They have ankles that can almost turn backwards, meaning they can move through the trees like a homicidal squirrel. It's not enough that they'll run you down on land or tree, but they'll often tag team prey, with one Fus chasing prey through the trees, weaponizing predatory parkour to force them on the ground, where Fusa number 2 hawks them down. The entire jungle is food to a Fusa, even their closest cousin. There was an actual problem where researchers were trying to study the Malagasy civet, but Fusas kept following trap lines and eating the captured animals. Fusa move on their own time, literally. They're cathemral, meaning they're active whenever they feel like. There's no combination of numbers on a clock when a Fusa can't strike, which is why their main personality trait is inflicting primal panic in lemurs. Not only is half their diet lemur meat, they'll straight up rip sleeping lemurs out of napping spots. They tell stories about the Fusa. This is their Freddy Cougar.
Okay, can I just say, this motherfucker's jacked. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's got some muscle tone that athletes might find impressive. And look at this. He is just fucking oraying right now. He's just like, yeah, bitch, I know what I got. Look at these guns.
That is one bad motherfucker. She-faka. That is a she-faka, and they're named after the sound they make in the face of a Fusa. Oh shit, fuck. Because Fusa will eviscerate them, with scientists finding Fakas life deprived with their intestines ripped out. Fusa will flatline anything lemur, even the ones weighing nearly as much as they do. You think they give a Faka? No, they take them, straight off the senses. She-faka, he-faka, you-faka, and in Fusa's eyes, anyone can get it. Millions of years being marooned on an island does things to you, and one of the consequences is Fusas do something no other mammal does. The following.
Oh my god. Look at the Fuchsia kids. Look at the little ones. Oh my god, they're so cute. Oh my god, they're so cute. I want to snuggle. Yes, what? I'm so dangerous. Why are they friend-shaped? Why aren't they snuggle-shaped? Oh my god, I want to snuggle and I want to pet. Oh my god, they are fucking adorable.
Something no other mammal does. The following is strictly for educational purposes. That being said, it might just be time to put the kids to bed. Fusas can't change from girls to guys, but boy do they do everything to convince you otherwise. Fusa go through transient masculinization, where they develop the same pseudo-situation hyenas got. Except with them, it involves a young female Fusa flitteris growing large enough and spiky enough to make them anatomically identical to a male. They'll even release the same musky orange product males do. The difference is, where hyenas have to pass kids like a kidney stone, eventually the Fusa's baby-making business end goes back to normal. But for a time, you really can't tell male from female. And that might just be the point. There's some things about this freak-off ferret that makes being young, female, and Fusa the worst combination. Female Fusas are highly territorial, because they'll make love in the same tree year after year, call it the tree of life. And Fusa foreplay involves the female sitting high up in the tree, with starving males down below competing for her time. Now the thing with Fusas is, the female will spend nearly a week in the tree, where she'll be visited by several males. 4, 5, sometimes 6, 7. Some yellow lights don't get ran through that much, and there is no honor system. Males will often climb up the tree to shoot their shot, while the female's already physically occupied by another. So yeah, it's a
damn, she a whore. She a fucking whore, baby. She's for the streets, or the trees, as the case may be on this one. Ho ho!
Fusa freak-off free-for-all. Imagine the ones from the movie, but instead of feeding for food, they desperately fall over each other trying to make a baby mother. Which might explain the gender bending. Young females can get put on a shirt by an older vindictive female, and put in a hearse by a horde of hormonal males. This can really be a problem since apparently males can't tell when a female is ovulating, so they just keep trying. Which could kill an inexperienced female cause, well, they're not the only ones with some nonsense in the nethers. Fusas hold a world record, and that's having the largest penis relative to body size of any mammal. They somehow beat out the tapir, and I've seen one use his as a tripod and a back scratcher. But I guess a 30-inch animal dragging a nearly 8-inch nectar dispenser is no educational purposes, I swear, because the sheer coital competition is why Fusas are hung like an adolescent donkey. They also have a baculum, which is a bone to allow the male to stay in the game as long as possible, even when the coach, other players, and even ref want him out. And not only that, they also have backward-facing spines on their procreation pickle, which makes retraction Not impossible, but incredibly uncomfortable to watch. Can't even imagine how that feels. Or maybe I just don't want to. We probably wouldn't even know all this if they weren't so damn loud about it. It's also hard to miss that females can put in 14-hour shifts in one day with multiple males, or sometimes just
Okay. The fuchsias are putting these OF girls that were trying to run those fucking did the world record to shame. Right? Screw these OF girls saying, I'm gonna take all these guys in one day. Nah, the fuchsia got them beat. Fuchsia got them fucking beat, baby.
one. Not only will a fosa couple go at it for hours, they can spend an extra one stuck in the same physical tie dogs get caught in. Of course, this means nothing to the competition, with researchers witnessing females having to chase off males while still attached cat dog style to their last body. And sometimes multiple rivals climb the tree to fight the male while he's still baculum deep. It's straight player hating, and why fusas do it at the very tops of the trees, like a tryst on trapeze. Some males will even play defense by guarding the female hours after they mate, especially if that male got interrupted. The couple can even injure themselves, and there's a non-zero chance the male falls and breaks his baculum. It's an entirely unpleasant process from start to finish, and if I have to know that, you do too, and if you unclick for that, I wouldn't blame you. But really makes you look at these guys different, and when your own conception is that demon-esque, unfortunately it's no surprise when they get treated like one. In Malagasy culture, there's something called fadi. My understanding is fadi are spiritual beliefs Malagasy people live by, basically cultural taboos ingrained into their society. For example, eating with a hat on, considered fadi, and the punishment is baldness. Eating while standing is fadi, and the penalty could be famine. There's hundreds of examples of fadi, and one of them actually protects the fush. It's said that fusas will feed on the long-expired bodies of ancestors buried in the forest, making it fadi to eat fusa meat. But fusa have some other freaky folklore about them, like one that says they crawl out the forest at night to steal babies straight out the cradle. Another legend tells of fushas licking a sleeping person to put them in an unbreakable trance so they can disembowel them. Another says the fusa's smell is enough to drop chickens dead on the spot, literally instant death through mustiness. So yeah, lemurs aren't the only things with thumbs that don't think much of the afterpick of an anti-drug PSA for predators. But of course, the Madagascar murder mongoose is almost zero threat to humans. To a lemur, that's a death threat, but to humans, they're just overly ambitious raccoons. Compare that to the absolute number done on the cryptic chocolate Cheerio by man, and it's no matchup. If they're not actively getting screwed over by property development, fusa get flatlined in retaliation for preying on poultry. Not to mention many will defy fadi, as in up to half of all Malagasy communities, fusa flesh is regularly eaten. Honestly, Madagascar as a whole is in danger, with over 90% of her forests already gone. And keep in mind, many like the fush are only found on the Big Red Island, so once they're gone from there, they're gone for good. Better appreciate it while it's still here, and who knows, maybe I'll take a trip down there. No promises though, I've already made too many. But as for later, for now, drink water, hug your mother, spread the fusa word. If school won't, we will. Touch grass, call your father, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
If not friend, why friend shades? Yeah, you know what? Now that we're seeing this guy here, I see the weasel. God, freezing on that one. I see why people would consider them to be weasels. Like the body shape here, especially with the arch. I get why people might look at them and classify them as a weasel. I get it. Stop it, Boots. Yeah, I realized as soon as I said it.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I knew it as soon as I said it. Yeah, it's like part weasel, part cat, part hyena.